represented by capital letters like A, B, C, R, P, Q, R, S, etc. And elements of the sets are denoted by the lowercase letters A, B, C, etc. So let me now move on to types of sets. So before that, let me recall one more thing. We have two methods to describe a set. The first one is, there are two methods are available for describing the set. The first one is roster form or tabular form. The second one is set builder form. Set builder form. So these two things we have discussed already. So after this, we now move on to types of set. The first one is a universal set. So you know already universal. So in a Venn diagram, so in a rectangle, this big rectangle represents a universal set. So universal set means the whole. That is, it is a set which consists of all elements or objects under our consideration. It is denoted by U or E, or sometimes we make use of the symbol S2. So for example, when we are referring to students of MCA or BE or BSc, the universal set can be taken as the set of all students. Okay, set of all students in MCA, or the set of all students in BE, or the set of students in BSc. So the whole thing refers to universal set here. Okay. The second one, while discussing a die throwing experiment, the universal set here is 1, 2, 3, because a die consists of 6 faces. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that represents a universal set. Next one, null set or empty set or void set also. We make use of this name for null set too. So the set that consists of no element is called null set or empty set, which is denoted by pi, or the set doesn't consist of any elements. So either we make use of the symbol pi, or we may represent like this. That means that this set doesn't have any element. Here we make use of this notation. So this is nothing but your set builder form of representation of sets. Okay, this is nothing but the set builder form of representation of sets. So instead of write down the elements directly, so we have written some common properties of the sets elements, okay, which are in common. Now P is a set that consists of set of all x such that x squared is equal to 4 with the condition that x is an odd number. So this condition doesn't hold for any odd number. By squaring an odd number, you can get an even number, but x squared that's not equal to 4. Okay, so which means P doesn't have any element, or you can write P is equal to pi. The second one, the set A, that is equal to set of all x such that x squared plus 1 equal to 0, where x is a real number. This case occurs only in case of complex number system, but not exist in case of real number system. So x squared plus 1 equal to 0, which means x squared is equal to minus 1, which means x is equal to plus or minus I. This case holds only in case for complex system. Okay, complex number system. But it is given that x is a real number. So this condition doesn't hold for any real number, which means x squared plus 1 is equal to 0, which means A is equal to an empty set pi. So the next one, q is equal to set of all x such that x squared is equal to 9, the condition that x is an even number. By squaring an even number, you get again an even number. Here it is given that 9 is an odd number. So x squared is equal to 9, that doesn't have any element. That means q is equal to an empty set pi. So that's all. So the null set means that consists of no element. Okay, that's an empty set. Okay. So the next, these are the points you make note of it. So the set pi is equal to 0 is not a null set because 0 is an element of the set. The very first thing you should note here, pi is equal to 0, which means this is not a null set because this set has, even though 0 doesn't have any value, but 0 is one of the elements in this set. So here we can't say pi is a null set in this case. Okay. The second one, A is equal to, the set consists of pi. This is also not a null set because A is a set that consists of an element pi, but pi is a null set. Here pi is a null set, not a problem here, but A is not a null set. because A consists of one element, that element is a pi. Okay, that's all. So you have to get a clear idea from these two about what is null set. The next one is singleton set. So a set which contains only one element is called a singleton set. For example, A is equal to, the set consists of only 0 element, here B consists of only one element n. So these are called singleton set. So a set which has only one element is a single set. Next one, a finite set. A set which contains a finite number of elements is called finite set. So which means that is, if it is, the elements are not infinite in number. For example, Q is equal to 2, 4, 6, 8. That's all. So this is represented in terms of tabular form or roster form. The second one, R is equal to set of all months of year. Months of year means you can write up to 12 months, January to December. Okay, so you can have up to 12. So it is finite in number. So that is also a finite set. The next one, infinite set. So that is contrary to finite set. So a set which consists infinite number of elements is called an infinite set. For example, the set of all integers. So you know the set of all integers is infinite because set of all integers starting from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay. So whatever may be positive or negative. So whatever that maybe you can write 1, 2, 3 up to etc. up to infinity you can write, or minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 up to etc. minus infinity 2. So this is infinite set. Second one, the set. Second one, this set consists of set of all x such that x belongs to n. N means set of natural numbers. You know the set of all natural numbers start from 1, 2, 3 up to etc. infinity. So here x is a multiple of 2. X is a multiple of 2 means you can write so many possibilities. Okay, because for writing 1 with 2 means 2. Second one, 2, 3, 4. First we start with natural numbers means start with 0. While multiplying any number with 0, you get 0. So up to infinity, if you multiply all of them with 2, so you can get so many 2 2s are 4, 3 2s are 6. So you have numbers from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 up to etc. So this is an infinite set. Next, cardinality of a set or size of a set. So if a set A is a finite set, then the number of elements in A is called the cardinality or size of A, and it is denoted by absolute A or n of A. Okay. So the number of elements which belongs to a set represents the size of a set or cardinality of a set. Okay. So if A is a set consists of P1, here it has subset that consists of P2 and P3. So P4 and P5, then n of A is nothing but the set of all elements. You have to count these two. Don't count these two as 1. So P2 as one element and P3 is the next element. Okay. So P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. So totally we have 5 elements. So n of A is equal to 5. Next, absolute pi. What is the meaning? Absolute pi means or n of pi. Or you can write this as n of pi. N of pi is also 0. That is number of elements in an empty set is nothing. So 0. The third one, if A is equal to set consists of 1, 2, 3, 7. Then n of A is equal to number of elements here, 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. So n of A is equal to 4. The next one, very important thing, subset. So if every element of a set A is also an element of a set B, then A is called a subset of B and is denoted by A subset of B. Okay, every element of A is an element of B. Here we can say B is a superset. Superset of A, because this is the biggest set. Okay, B is the biggest set and A is a subset. This is A and B. Okay, so every element of A is an element of B. Okay, so B is a superset of A. So you can write in set builder form like A is subset of B as set of all x such that x belongs to A implies x belongs to B. That is, if an element, there exists an element in A means that is also an element in B. That is the meaning. The next example, for subset. So every set is a subset of itself. That's a very important thing you should know. Every set is a subset of itself. A is a subset of A, isn't it? The next one, empty set is a subset of every set. Suppose if A is a subset means definitely empty set is a subset of every set. The third one, the set of all even positive integers between 1 and 100 is a subset of set of positive integers between 1 to 100 is a subset of set of integers between 1 and 100. So set of all even positive, I can write it clearly, even positive integers between 1 to 100. So even means you can take only 2, 4, 6, 8. Up to 100 means last one, 98 and 100. So is a subset of here 1 to 100, 1, 2, 3, 100. So it consists of only even numbers, doesn't have any odd numbers, but it consists of both even and odd number. So if you take this as set A and this as set B means A is a subset of B. Okay, so here A represents set of positive integers between 1 and 100, and here B is a set of all integers between 1 and 100. Okay, the next to note, these are all the important notes you should remember. So if A is a subset of B and B is a subset of C means A is a subset of C. So one of the important property. So if A is a subset of B, then B is called the superset of A, you know already. And you can write like this too. A is a subset of B, we may usually write like this. Or you can write it as B containing A. Okay. Next, third one, the total number of subsets of a given set having n element is very important thing, 2 per n. Suppose if A is set consists of 2 elements 1 and 2, okay, then the total number of subsets we can form is, no, number of elements here is 2, so 2 square 4. So totally we can form 4 subsets. Let me explain how. So power set, that is subsets of A is nothing but that consists of element 1 alone, next 2 alone, next 1, 2 and the empty set. So totally we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the set A, the subsets of A consist of 4 elements. So in general, if any set that consists of n elements, then its subset means it consists of 2 per n elements. Okay. So next one, every set has at least 2 subsets. That is also true, because the empty set and the set itself. Look at here. A is a set that is 1 and 2. So its subset has the set itself and pi. Okay. So every set, that is, every set has at least 2 subsets. One is nothing but the set itself. One is nothing but the set itself. The other one is the empty set. Okay. Instead of that, based on the elements, we can segregate. Okay. And so it is called improper set. So these 2 subsets we name it as improper subsets. The next one, if A is not a subset of B, which means A is not a subset of B, then at least one element of A doesn't belong to B. What is the meaning of this is, if A is not a subset of B means there exists an element in A that doesn't belong to B. So actually the meaning of subset means for every element in A that also belongs to B. Okay. So every element of A is an element of B. That is the definition of B. If A is not a subset means if at least one element in A that doesn't belong to B means we can say that is not a subset of B. Okay. Next one, proper subset. If A is a subset of B and A is not equal to B, then we say that A is a proper subset of B and is not a proper set of B. So this is we can use for subsets. This symbol we make use of for subset. A is a subset of B, which means A is a subset means sometimes A is equal to B too. A is equal to B. Already I told you every subset is a subset of itself. Every subset is a subset of itself. So proper subset means A is proper set of B, which means this set doesn't, in any cases, we don't have equality like this. A is equal to B. Okay, in any of the cases, we don't have this equalities between these 2 sets. So A is always a proper subset of B. That is the meaning. Look at this example. If A is equal to set consists of 2, 3, 4 and B is set consists of 2, 3, 4, 5. Here A is a proper set. Look at here 2, 3, 4. B is also consists of 2, 3, 4. But B has one more element, that is 5. So in this case, so A is a proper subset of B. The second one, the null set is a proper set of every set. The null set is a proper set of everyone. Next example, if A set consists of 2 elements A, B and B set consists of 3 elements A, B, C and C's set consists of 3 elements B, C, A. Then here A and B are subsets of C. A and B, these are subsets of C. Okay? But look at here. A is a proper set of, here among these three, A and B are subsets of C. So I can write like this: A and B are subsets of C. And also A is a proper set of C. We can say A is a proper set of C. But we can't say B is a proper set of C. B is not a proper set. Because look at here. A consists of only 2 elements A, B. C consists of 3 elements A, B, C. Okay. So ordering in the set elements doesn't change the set, that is value of the sets. Okay. So here A, B, C, here itself A, B, C, that is written in different order. Okay. Here both sets are same. So A, B, C, here also A, B, C. For B, we can say B is a subset of C or B is equal to C. In this case, we can say B is equal to C or B is a subset of C. We can make use of any of these two notation here. But comparing A and C, we can say A is a subset of C and A is a proper subset of C. Okay? Because A consists of only 2 elements, C consists of 3 elements. Okay? Next, equal sets. The two sets A and B are said to be equal. That is, A is equal to B if A is a subset of B and B is a subset of A. So look at this. B is a subset of C. Here I have to write as B is equal to C. Okay. Also you can write C equal to B. Both are same. Also here we can say C is a subset of B because both of them having the same elements. Okay. So here itself I can give one more example. If every element which belongs to A also belongs to B, and if every element which belongs to B also belongs to A. Okay, which means A is equal to B if and only if, the simple meaning is if and only if the set of all A is subset of B and B is subset of A. Or you can write it as X belongs to A if and only if X belongs to B, which means every element of A is an element of B and also every element of B is an element of A, which means both are same, which means A is equal to B. So if there is some elements in the set A that doesn't belongs to B or vice versa, when we say that A is not equal to B. If there is some element of A that doesn't belongs to B, means A is not equal to B. And also if there is some element of B that doesn't belongs to A, which means B not equal to A. Okay. So what is the meaning of equal sets? Means both of the sets consist of the same number of elements. Cardinality of a set should be same. The first thing, both of them should have same number of elements, and also both of them have the same elements. Then only we have to say these two sets are equal. Okay. Next one, example based on that. Let A is equal to the set consists of 1, 2, 3, 4 and B is the set consists of 2, 4, 3, 1. Here written order should be different in A and B, but both the sets are same. Okay. Next example, A is set consists of set of all x less than 10 and x is an even positive integer. B is equal to 2, 4, 6, 8. And C is equal to set of all x that x greater than 1 and x less than 10 and x is even. Here all the three sets are equal. Whereas the first and third one we have to use the set builder form of representing the elements of the set. The second one we make use of the tabular form of representation of set elements. All of them should represent the same thing. That means all of them should have the elements, represents the elements of the sets 2, 4, 6, 8. Here the three sets are equal. A equal to B equal to C. Next, the set P is equal to set of all elements R S T. Q is equal to R S 2 times there may be R S T. R is equal to S R T. Here also the same, three sets are equal, that is P is equal to Q is equal to R. So, look at here, R is written 2 times, that doesn't change, okay, no issues. that represents only one R. Okay. So here P, Q, R all are same. Next. Here two important points you have to know that a set doesn't change if one or more of its elements are repeated. Okay. This is for the set Q. Okay. If one or more elements of the sets are repeated more than once, so definitely the set doesn't change. Okay. The second one, a set doesn't change if we change the order. Okay. This is for RST. You can write this as for the set RST, PQ, RST. You can write that as Q is equal to some STR. Both are same. R. Okay. The R is not important here. So okay. So which its elements are tabulated. That's all. Next, equivalent sets. Two sets A and B are equivalent if they contain the same number of elements. For example, the set A consists of the vowels A, E, I, O, U, and B is a set consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here A and B are equivalent. Here it doesn't bother about what are the elements in the set. It refers only for the cardinality, that is n of A and n of B both are equal or not. Here number of elements in A is 5 elements, that is a set of vowels in an English alphabet A, I, O, U. Here integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B consist of. So only n of A and n of B are equivalent or not. That is the cardinality of a set only we have to take in mind. That is n of A consists of 5 elements and n of B consists of 5 elements. That's all. So both sets are equivalent. We doesn't bother about whether that consists of the same elements or not. Okay. Only we concentrate about the cardinality of a set. That is the size of the sets alone. Okay. The next one, disjoint set. The two sets A and B are said to be disjoint if no element of A is in B and no element of B is in A. That means both are entirely different. So R is a set consists of A, B, C, and S is a set consists of some alphabets K, P, M. Here none of the elements should be same. Okay, this is different and this is different. Okay, so these two sets are disjoint sets. Next, family of sets. So if a set A consists of elements which are itself sets, then it is called the family of sets or set of sets. For example, A is set consists of 1, 2, set consists of 3, 4 and 5. Here A is set of sets. We can say A is a set of sets, which means it is one of the element is a set, other one element is a set. Okay, if it is so, we can say that as a set of sets. Okay, next, power set. Important thing you have to note it here. So power set. The power set of any given set A is the set of all subsets of A and is denoted by P of A. As I told you already, if A is a set consists of n elements means then P of A consists of 2 power n elements. Here they can give an example. If A is a set consists of 3 elements A, B, C and P of A, that is power set of A. Okay, P of A, that is power set of A consists of 2 power n elements. Okay, 2 power n elements. So totally here n 1, 2, 3. So 2 power 3 means totally 2. You have to multiply 2 by 3 times. 2 2s are 4, 4 2s are 8. So totally we have 8 elements. So here P of A consists of 8 elements. Shall we write it? The first one, singleton set we have to write first. So set consists of A, B, C alone. Next coming to 2. So A, B and B, C and C. Then any other possibilities left? So among these we don't have any other possibilities. Next we have to combine by 3, 3. So A, B, C only one possibility. Next one, the empty set. That's all. So totally we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the power set of A has 8 elements. So P of A has 8 elements. So next one. So these are some of the important theorems you should know. So when you deal with set theory, this is the important thing you should know about the basic theorems in set theory. Prove that the null set is a subset of every set. Suppose pi is not a subset. So for that we make use of the indirect proof or proof by contradiction method, not by proceeding the direct proof. So for that I have to assume that suppose pi is not a subset of A. By definition, every empty set is subset of every set. But I have to take the contrary assumption, that is pi is not subset of A, which means there exists an element x in pi such that x is not an element of A. Okay, if it is not a subset, mean what is the meaning? By definition of subset, if there exists an element in pi that is not an element of A. But pi is, as per definition, pi is a null set and it doesn't have any x, that is any element. So x doesn't belongs to pi because pi is a null set, doesn't have any elements in common, so it doesn't have any elements of its own. So look at these two from the above. X belongs to pi, x doesn't belongs to pi. These two, from these two we get a contradiction. We get a contradiction, which means our assumption is wrong. What is our assumption? Pi is not a subset of A is wrong, which means pi is a subset of A. Okay, pi is generally we may prove three methods. Okay, the first one is direct proof. Okay, in short I have to explain this. The second one is indirect proof or proof by contradiction. This is the second method of proof. And third one by induction method. The direct proof means we just assume, given the, we have to assume the given statement and we have to proceed. The indirect method of proof means we have to take the contrary of the given statement. So the given statement is pi is a subset of A. So instead of doing as per the procedure by taking pi is a subset of A, by proceeding like that, what I have to do? I have to take that pi is not a subset, which means the proof by contradiction. The third one, induction. Okay, so here we may follow the second method of proof. The next theorem, prove that every set is a subset of itself, which means A is a subset of A. So A is, which means what meaning? Let x belongs to A means direct method of proof I have to take. So A is a subset of A. A means what means? By definition, if there is an element A means definitely that is also an element in A. Therefore, A is a subset of A. So every element belongs to A is an element of A, which means A is a subset of A. That theorem is proved. Next theorem, if A is a subset of B, B is a subset of C, means you can write A is a subset of C. Direct method of proof. A is a subset of B and B is a subset of C. So you can write A is a subset of C. So this is what we have to prove. Suppose if X is an element in A, which means X is A is a subset of B, means if X is an element in A means what meaning? Which implies X is an element in B. And B is a subset of C, which means what means? X is an element of C. Since X is an element of C and also X is an element of A, which means you can write X is a subset of C. Sorry, A is a subset of C. That's all. Next one, prove that if A is a subset of B, B is a subset of C and C is a subset of A, sorry, C is a subset of A, then A is equal to C. Now, the same methodology of proof here itself we follow. So, A is a subset of C and C is a subset of A. Okay? Sorry, A is a subset of B and B is a subset of C, then A is a subset of C. Also it is given that C is a subset of A. So C is a subset of A, which means what means A is a subset of C. Start from the beginning. A is a subset of C and C is a subset of A, which means A is equal to C. A simple proof. So A subset of B and B subset of C. So from these you can write A subset of C. Also it is given that C is a subset of A. So now we can combine this. C is a subset of this with this one. So A is a subset of C, C is a subset of A. So which means what meaning? A is a subset of C, C is a subset of A. By definition, both sets A and C are equivalent. That is the equality set definition. That's all. Prove that if A is a subset of pi, then A is nothing but an empty set pi. So you know already pi is a subset of every set. As per the definition, pi is a subset of every set. But it is given that what is given? A is a subset of pi. It is given. Combining these two, pi is a subset of A and A is a subset of pi, which means A is equal to pi by definition of equality of sets. Two sets are equal. Okay? A is, if one of the set is subset of other one and the other one is subset of The first one means both sets are equal. That's all. So up to that, hope you got clear idea about the types of sets. Thank you.